So this afternoon, I can't believe it's the 1st of July already, but I am absolutely delighted to be back with Danielle Matthews and a new guest for me, but someone I've been looking forward to speaking to for a long time, the amazing Debbie Wetzler. And I connected with both of you two through the beautiful community of Asea. And I really wanted to just have another chat with Danielle, we've had a few chats on my channel before. But Debbie, having seen your story on a couple of other chats, it was so inspirational in so many different ways. I was really, really keen to get you on. Now, I am just before we launch into it, my computer's really playing up, so there's a bit of a delay. So I do apologize to everyone for that. So Debbie, first of all, for you, how are you? Because you're in a beautiful part of America, aren't you?
I am in a beautiful part of America, and I'm great. It's a beautiful day and looking forward to the holiday weekend. I was just with Canadian friends and we wish them happy Canada Day because this is their independence also.
Yeah, big weekend for you guys. And Danielle, how are you doing in lovely Florida?
I'm doing well. It's funny. I used to live out right next to Debbie in Colorado. I love it out there. The mountains where she is, the Rockies are gorgeous. So I'm doing well down here. It is hot, but nice.
It's actually hot in the UK today, so I'm making the most of it. So now because some people would have met you, Debbie, on other shows, and Danielle, so I'm just going to ask you both just to briefly introduce yourself to my listeners. So let's start with you, Debbie.
Well, hi, my name is Debbie Wetzler, and I do live in Colorado. And I've been with Asea for 12 years. And before that, I was an entrepreneur. I own my own interior design business and, loved helping people turn their environments into a beautiful home space that they could feel good in. And then things progressed, and my father became ill with something, due to his work. What he did, he was an engineer for Standard Oil. And I started focusing on health because there were better ways I found than what he went through to help people be healthy, totally well, I should say, both in mind and body. And so that's where my journey with this company began.
Absolutely beautiful. And Danielle, I know you've been on before, but your story is so inspiring. Can you just, for those that haven't seen previous videos with you, can you just explain how you got so involved in the health and wellness work that you're doing now?
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. I've always been interested in the human body. So I went to school and studied biology, and it always fascinated me to see just how things work. And when I got out of school, about 2 years outside of my graduation, I was in a really severe car accident. And so I was actually hit by a drunk driver head on, and I sustained an injury to my brain, Catherine. It took me on a I do all the things people in their 20s do. I was in bed at home dealing with a lot of issues. I couldn't focus. I was sensitive to noise and light. I had severe pounding, and basically just wanted to sleep all the time. And doctors didn't really have answers for me. And so it's interesting, Debbie said her dad went through and doctors did have answers, but they were intense, what the kind of side effects were. And for me, it was a different situation. There weren't any options that Western medicine had for my type of injury. They just kind of said, look, wait and see. And they told me that for the first month, 3 months, 6 months. At the 1 year point, they said, look, with this type of injury, the body's done the healing it's going to do. And this is just your new normal. And I don't know how many other people have sat and heard something similar from a doctor and accepted it, but something within me, now I know as my higher self, was like, you're fired. And just said, nope, we're going to find a solution to this, because this is not a life, worth living. I mean, I couldn't do anything. And an acupuncturist actually introduced my mom to this technology. And it's so fun because the ripple effect came from Debbie, which I'm sure we'll get into. But eventually, through this chain of events, this acupuncturist learned about the technology, was using it in her practice, and said it was helping each client with different things. And she said to my mom, I just think it could help Danielle. My intuition tells me it would pass the blood-brain barrier, and like, why doesn't she just try it? And you know, my biology degree got in the way for like 6 months because I was like, this stuff sounds like salt water. It's a scam. I mean, I was like, take it away. Your friend's crazy. But my mom was using it and she had results with it. And then my dad did. And then they said to me, Danielle, this is a massive field of science. It's just too new. You didn't learn about it in school. And they said, look, it cannot hurt you and it might help you. So why don't you try and see what it will bring you? And I thought, well, there's some logic there. So anyway, I started using it and it wasn't like this miracle thing happened overnight, but 3 months into using it, the pounding in my head finally stopped. I had relief for the first time in 2 years. And I started to be able to focus again for extended periods. I had energy, and it was really my cognitive therapist that said to me, you know, Danielle, I've worked with this injury for 30 years, and I've never seen such a rapid recovery happen so far out from someone's initial trauma. She said, with this injury, it doesn't happen. And she's the one that said, you know, what the hell is this stuff? and launched me into learning. So that's my story with it. And, you know, that was 8 years ago. I've been using the technology that long, and it just, something got inside of me where I went, you know, all things happen for a reason. And now I'm in a position to help a lot of other people. And so I just started sharing, and it's been incredible what's happened since then with what I've gotten to witness this do.
And this is so beautiful because we've all been a stage, and obviously I'm being very careful how I put things on YouTube, but you know, the last couple of years have been a huge learning curve for a lot of people. And I think so many people, myself included, we've realized how important connection and communication is at an internal level and at a global level and at a world level. And I think what I love about this, you've already sort of mentioned, Danielle, or hinted about the fact, the ripple effect of it all starting from Debbie.
Yeah.
And I've just been, Danielle and I had a funny experience because Danielle contacted me a few years ago. And at that time, unfortunately, my father was terminally ill. So I was going through that. Plus I was selling my natural herb and product business, and I had a lot going on. So it wasn't the right time, but those connections that you put out there come to fruition when the time is right. You know, so there's a saying that when the student is ready, the teacher will come. And when the student is really ready, the teacher will disappear. But I love this. I think one of the things that we're going to talk about is community today. And I think the community side of things and the communication and the community side of things are both so relevant, both in the products we're talking about, but also the beautiful company and people that have collected together because of this opportunity. Do you want to talk us through, Debbie, some of your experience of that?
Of the community?
The community, yeah.
And the ripple effect, I learned about this 12 years ago, and it was probably one of the first people that brought it to the East Coast. And it's funny, many of us had been with another health company. And the sense of community there was very strong. However, the company itself had kind of lost some of its integrity. And many of us just didn't want to be with them anymore. So we stepped down, and when we found the community, these were some of my best friends in the world. And I was thrilled to learn that, and I'll just put it, the good ones, the ones with heart, had come to this company. And then you just start meeting new people. And the only people that are really interested in coming into this are the people that really care about others and want to help and have a larger vision about what this can do. Because I know in the United States, our medical field it's superb if you've got a traumatic injury and they want to put you back together. But we're so low in the chronic, and we take so many drugs in the United States, more than most any country, I think. And so we're trying to change and have a vision of what this actually can do. But just even in the sense of what this product can do for people, I first took it to a biologist, as Danielle is, and it was her opinion that this was huge and massive. And she'd been working with this technology. She had worked at the National Institutes of Health, and that's where she was at the time. And she had been studying these molecules for 17 years.
Wow.
And she was just astounded that somebody was finally able to stabilize them. And she said, this will change the medical field as you know it. Those were her words. And she was the first one to tell me they go through the blood-brain barrier. But I do have to say, and I don't say this too often because I don't want people to think it's woo-woo, because it's not, it's very scientific. But she held the bottle and she said, you realize this is the substance that will allow our cells to become enlightened. And I said, yes. And that to me struck very heavily with why I wanted to tell everybody about it. And I found that that's a big part of our community. I think a lot of people understand that the body's very powerful, can heal itself, but it also is helping people in their mindsets and in the way they feel and the way they're happy and the way they're compassionate and want to really help people.
Yeah. Oh, Debbie, that gave me goosebumps. When you said that, that absolutely gave me goosebumps. And it's like, I see it, you know, Catherine, it's like people have this glow about them. I call it the Asea glow. We kind of laugh about it. But when you said that, Debbie, it's like there's the vibrational state, the shift, I think, that happens in people. You know, you could talk about it in the biological level, right? What's happening with hormones and that kind of thing. But I really do believe it brings you to another space. And when you're also surrounded by people that are in that space, it lifts you up even more. And so the community here, it's been phenomenal. I mean, Debbie, you've watched me grow from like being nervous to even talk to anybody to now like just it's such a confident, excited person that wants to change the world. And it's because of the community within Asea that's allowed that. And you specifically, I mean, it's your heart, I think, that has attracted in, you know, the people that you work with, and now that I'm blessed to work with.
Honestly, ladies, and people think, you know, I am a very enthusiastic person, but I just want to share with the listeners, this is so genuine. This is why I'm so passionate about this, because like Danielle, I'm a biologist. I've come from a very scientific background, and the older I've got Debbie much more into the link between the mind-body connection, the spiritual connection, which we're going to come on to talk to about, because you cannot separate one from the others. And because I do so much work with animals on the holistic health side of things, who are so connected with their energy, nature, with their spiritual side of things, it's so easy. But what I've been completely blown away by is by the community of this, because, and I keep going on about community because it's so important. So many of the diseases that humans are suffering from now in the Western world are actually more social diseases, really, than medical things. So virtually every chronic disease that humans are suffering from can be related back to a breakdown in our social systems and the way we, you know, it's ridiculous when you think about it, that as a species, we need nutritionists now. I'm old enough to know, and Debbie might be, you won't be, Danielle, growing up where actually as humans, we did know how to feed ourselves, and we actually had proper food that we could put on the table. And unfortunately now, you know, we're now responsible for other species as well. So sometimes we need to go very far off balance to realize just how we need to get back. And I think the beauty of the Asea products are in their simplicity of putting back. Now, the process of getting them to be stable isn't simple, but putting back what nature intended. And I've got a very good friend at the moment who's one of their parents is very, very ill. And they've been put on a lot of medication from doctors. And obviously we don't make any medical claims here at all. But can I ask you, because you two are both so experienced, and Danielle, from your own personal story, for someone that is very entrenched in the normal Western medical system, that is afraid to try something new, even though they're really in a bad way at the moment, have you got any words of wisdom for them?
Well, what I really try to do is just teach people and let them understand what this is. And there's so much scientific evidence now. I start off kind of by saying this isn't really an alternative. This is something that every doctor has studied in every medical school that there is. And, you know, if I need to use medical terms, it's created during the Krebs cycle and things like that, I can say that to them so they start kind of understanding and just saying, you're just replacing things that your body has stopped producing as much of. And so your body doesn't heal as quickly. And I try to keep it simple for if I'm just talking to a lay person. If it's a medical person, it's a different story. And try to let them know that these are the molecules that are already in your body. They are native. You're just replacing them so that they can help your body heal faster. It's not going to interfere with anything that you choose to do. You can still take medications because you already have redox in your body. And I try to just explain it very simply to them so that they'll understand, so that the fear will go about, taking something else, because everybody's so medically trained, they think it's another medicine, and it's not. And that's what you have to get across. This is not another medicine. This is something completely different. And then if, need to, they could talk to somebody like Danielle with her story, if that was appropriate, or, whatever issue they have. And then it usually eases them, and then they a lot of times will try it. And Danielle, I'll let you speak to that too.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking about it, because traditional medicine is there for a reason. And I mean, it's been incredible what they've been able to discover. Like, my grandfather was a doctor, and we would call him often, growing up, like, what do we do with this in this scenario? And there's incredible drugs to help with certain things. But, I was actually talking with Dr. Silverman this morning, and he said, if you go to the doctor because you've got this blood sugar issue, and they say, okay, you need the metformin. What's happened is that the metformin now helps the body regulate it because the pancreas stopped working, or, the cells can't, use insulin like they used to. And the metformin's not fixing the issue. It's just it's kind of like a crutch to let the body keep existing. Redox, it's not designed to do anything specific for a specific issue, but what it does is it goes to the root, the cells, and it says which cells aren't working right. So it'll go into the pancreas and go, there's some damaged ones here. Let's repair. Or that one just is old and needs to be gone. It gets rid of it. Gets a healthy cell in its spot. And so then when you get the pancreas cells like working properly again, doing what they're supposed to do, like they did when we were young, all of a sudden the organ starts functioning as a whole the way it's supposed to. And so now that crutch we had, the Band-Aid that we were using to cover up the issue, all of a sudden, well, the issue maybe has resolved itself. Right. And so I might not need that. And so to me, it's like, well, if the medication is kind of masking the symptom, what if you have something that could come in and repair it so that symptom's no longer there? Right. It's like going to the roots of the issue. And so to me, that's how I kind of look at it. And for those that, are kind of skeptical of alternative things, it's really not that alternative. I mean, this is something that a pharmaceutical company was looking to buy and purchase, right? I mean, it's just that it's coming to market in a different way, but it's a biotech company. This technology is something that is backed by science, and, has the safety studies are there. I mean, everything's there that someone would need. So it's just a matter of them understanding, well, why is it coming through you, Catherine, versus my doctor, right? And that's a conversation to help people realize there's different ways to bring things to market, and there's reasons why things end up on certain paths.
I love that. And I think, this is what I love about things like this, is words have been twisted so much. So the alternative side of things is used to describe most things that are actually way, way more natural, and that our bodies are actually designed to be making themselves and to be utilizing day in, day out. And sometimes it's the actual terminology that we've been brainwashed into using that puts people off and puts that barrier up, rather than the actual thing themselves. So the person watching will know who that's for, and I really hope that helps, because this is, Danielle's story. We're so used to being told what can't be done, but I've been doing this work long enough to see miracle after miracle after miracle, and no one makes any claims, but the power of the body of all species is amazing. And in my work, I tend to get the cases where all else has failed on the animal side of things. And, even the work that's done on the soil and the microbiome recovery from all our intensive pharmacies, it's just wonderful when you see how nature in any form can heal when it's given the chance.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
no kidding.
So, but leading on to that, belief and spiritual beliefs and things is a big part of it. And you touched on this earlier, Debbie. It's very hard, isn't it, to for a lot of people, when we're so brainwashed into thinking science, and we're scientists, but you've got to use that in conjunction with understanding the power of belief. Do you think? How's that sort of panned out for you, and what have you learnt on that over the last few years?
Well, the brain is such a powerful thing, and it could really regulate everything if we opened up and learned how to do that again. So since we're all really connected through a universal field, that's what I call it, because that's easy to understand. I feel that we're all connected, and that's, again, why we need community so much. We need each other, and to be separated so far with what happened with COVID and wearing masks and stuff, that really had a significant impact on the way people are reacting now, and the way they were kind of, kept apart from people, really had an effect on people, I believe. And so the spiritual part of it is, I find that, as Danielle said, there's so many spiritual people that are attracted to Asea, because I feel that people, are of certain frequencies and vibrations, basically. And it's like tuning forks. If you tune a fork and it vibrates at a certain frequency, then the next tune fork is going to be the same way. And that's what we've been attracting. And it started with our founder. And that's the beautiful story of how it started, is, that he turned down the check, and he was in integrity, and he wanted to really help people and leave a legacy. And his son, Tyler, said, I'm not going to do the network marketing piece unless I can teach a certain ethos to have the right people come in to join us, because we don't want, what people perceived as sleazy people doing this with us. We want people of integrity, people who care, people who put people, purpose, and principle over ego and economics. And so that's what we've been attracting. And that's why our community is so strong. And that's where I think the spiritual part, I feel very comfortable talking spiritually to people and about things, because I think most people understand all that. And it's just a beautiful part of who we are.
Yeah. And Debbie, you got to share with everybody, for you, because to me, it's like it started there for you. It was you let out a prayer looking for something, and this was the answer. You got to share that story.
Oh, yes, yeah. I had gotten in a very difficult financial area for the first time in my life, and I literally had no money coming in, and found my job, but had to work long hours to try to even just put food on the table, and got behind on my mortgage, got the letter of foreclosure finally, and felt hopeless for a few seconds only. And then I thought, okay, and went upstairs and got on my knees and just put out a very big emotional prayer, which is how spirit, God, universe hears it. And I just prayed for something that I could help people with, and something that could help me restore my financial dignity, and got into bed. And because the prayer was so strong, it was the next morning before I even got out of bed that the prayer was answered. And that's when my girlfriend from Colorado did call and tell me that there'd been a huge breakthrough. And she knew how much I loved health and wanted me to know about this. And my name had fallen into her head the night before. So that's when I knew to take a very hard look and to know that this is probably my new path, which was a beautiful moment.
It really is, and it's so powerful. And there's a lot of people out there who are really examining where they're at their lives, because they've realized that, perhaps the choices that they thought they had, they haven't really got. They've realized that sometimes they're spending their life doing things that they don't want to be. And this is what I find so wonderful, is just there's so many opportunities out there for people when you ask with such intent, like you did, Debbie. It's just absolutely amazing, and a bit similar for me in terms of not quite so potent as that, but Danielle had connected with me a couple of years earlier, but I was at the stage where I was just really like, you know, there's so many people, because of what I've been doing over the last couple of years, I was seeing a completely different level of need for people to be doing something with purpose, where they felt really proud of themselves, where they could take back control over areas of their lives, and most importantly with health, and then be connecting with people that they really resonate with. Because I think a lot of people have stepped away or have been dropped from groups of friends and things, because, you know, there's a lot of differences that have come to the surface. But actually, you then attract in, like you were saying, Debbie, the people that are on the same vibration as you. Now, I think all of us are very passionate about different ways, about the direction that healthcare, true healthcare, is moving in, and the influence that people like us can have on that. And I listened to a beautiful podcast, and I'm embarrassed, but I will look it up once we're all talking to see who actually did it. But there's an American health professional who's setting up community groups of community health. I'll share the podcast link underneath this video, everyone. And it was so beautiful to listen to, because it really resonated with me, because the alternative practitioners have been ostracized for so long, and now they're coming back in, not to replace, but to complement. And, you know, there's a reason why it's complementary medicine, and the power of having someone who's recovered, like you have, Danielle, from such a serious injury, or people that have recovered themselves from chronic illnesses that traditional medicine tells us are not curable, we've just got to live with, is very, very potent. Is that, I know that's something you're both passionate about and really working towards. Do you want to talk to that, Debbie?
Oh, I was going to let Danielle go first this time.
Go on,
yeah, go ahead. So it's interesting because of my accident and my life prior, right? My grandfather was Westernly trained doctor. My mom, maybe in reaction to that, right, she went more on the alternative side. So growing up, I had both. Like if I had swimmer's ear, my mom made some concoction of like garlic and olive oil, and I don't even know what that was going in my ear, and it would work. You know, she'd put essential oils on my feet, and like I'd wake up the next morning and whatever I was coming down with, like, was just, it just vanished overnight. So I had seen these alternative things work, and then I had also seen my grandfather being resistant to them, or like my mom laughed at, like, oh, she's like a lunatic. And I'm like, well, no, they both work, you know, and they are complementary. And I think there's a place and a time for them. But I think, unfortunately, you know, the way that our system has grown and developed, and, you know, you could probably get to the root of why it's that way, but our doctors are trained like, well, there is a pill or a surgery to fix this issue. And there's nothing wrong with that, because that's what they were trained. So that's what they recommend. That's what they know. But the reality is, you know, the body for thousands of years prior, there had been other remedies that were given. You need to eat this. You need to cut this out of your life. You need to meditate. I remember I went to India. My best friend is from India, and she had me go, and we went to this retreat center that she called her uncle grandfather. I still don't fully understand what relationship they had, but he did Ayurvedic medicine, and he sat with me and he read my pulses, and he told me things about my health that I never verbalized anything. And he pinpointed things that, I mean, I'd never even told a doctor that I had an issue with. And I went, holy cow. And one of the things he told me to do was meditate daily for a year. And I thought, that, you know, that's my prescription. But I did it, and my world changed. When you are able to quiet the mind, and like the yogis say, you free up, like your life force energy gets like stuck in our thoughts because we're so in our heads all the time. But if you quiet the mind, that life force is then freed up to go throughout the body, and it will get blocks out energetically, and it'll just rebalance, you know, your parasympathetic nervous system and sympathetic. We're so out of balance there. It gets everything, you know, flowing correctly again, and can bring you back into alignment. It's just, I think sometimes we get impatient. And the beautiful thing with Western medicine is like, it's like this immediate, you know, we did this. But in these alternative, right, these other ways of looking at it, it can take more time, but it resolves the root of the issue. So it's kind of like, do you want the instant gratification, or do you want to just never have to worry about it again? You know, I'm kind of in that camp.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, like I said, I especially blame the United States for going so far. We had the research, we have the scientists, and there's so many beautiful things that they discover. But that led us into creating more medicines and vaccines and this and that for everything, and kind of forgetting that, like, the Indians used to have cures for all kinds of stuff that went to the root cause. And they would get so far, oh, that's old, that's dumb, we don't need that anymore, we've got pills. And I like to see people get back to the basics of nutrition. For one thing, I find it appalling that doctors only study nutrition for about an hour. I mean, literally every doctor said that they had an hour's course on it. Now, you are what you eat is a saying that's been around since, I don't know, I know my grandmother said it. That's years ago. And that's so important. And they keep showing this. I mean, the person who ate Big Mac every day and, had the heart attack and all that kind of stuff. You are what you eat. And that's so important. And for them not to even incorporate, I've never had a doctor say, what have you been eating?
Exactly.
That's not a question that they ask. And it's just so weird to me. Why wouldn't you even ask that? But then, yeah, when people, just like Danielle's mother, I've known several women that studied nutrition so much that their children were never on antibiotics for ear infections or anything else. They cured it all with nutrition. And so this is just a big part of, Asea and redox isn't part of nutrition, but it helps you absorb the nutrition better. It gets you all into balance. Your gut is your second brain at this point, and your gut is what helps you absorb everything. And this gets your gut into order, and it gets, it helps you, like I said, absorb the nutrition and things. And so really we need to start looking at alternatives in conjunction with what Western medicine can do for us, because doctors do have a heart. They want to help people, but I feel they need to be more open-minded and let in things that would naturally help you along with whatever they prescribe or have you do. They just need to learn more, I think.
Sorry, carry on.
Well, I was just going to say, one of the doctors that I brought the redox to, she said to me, Danielle, my hands are tied because of insurance, because of liability, because of all of this stuff. If it's not, approved in this manner with whatever crazy hoops people have to jump through with the FDA, they could lose their license to practice. And so it's not that they don't want people to know, it's just, there's this fine line they have to walk, and that's their livelihood, so it's tough. And I bet you if you asked of your doctor those questions, they might even say, that's not my area of expertise, or maybe seek this. And so the end consumer has to be informed. I mean, that's what I learned on my journey with my head injury, is I had to be my own advocate. I had to be. And you keep going until you find the right answer, because there's somebody out there that knows. And has seen something, right? Like Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. Holy cow. You talk to him and you see what their team has seen over the years with just the meditation and that space that, they get people into. So again, that life force, right, can come in and just boom, get the body back into alignment. It's just there's so much we don't know. To me, it's the science keeps pointing to we'll keep asking the questions and they keep discovering what else is out there.
Yeah, it's just absolutely beautiful. And I work a lot with animals self-medicating. The term we use is zoopharmacognosia. It's absolutely mind-blowing to see when you give an animal the choice of how they take, whether it's inhalation, ingestion, rolling in it, and what they choose, how quickly the mind and body can be put back in balance. And also, animals innately know, any of us that are lucky enough to share a life with animals know that when they need to recover, they'll take themselves off to rest. And quite often they'll fast during that process as well, to give their body a time to do it. So there's so much wisdom by connecting back into those side of things. And I've just been so delighted to see how many people over the last few years are now opening back up to this possibility for so many different reasons. One, because we want to really thrive in our life. There's no point all living to 100 if we're all unhealthy and miserable. we want to truly thrive, and we want to work as our bodies are meant to work, and we want to work as our societies are meant to be working. And there's so many messages we've had from the global scale. If blocking off communication. Sorry, my screen keeps freezing. Blocking off communication. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I've frozen completely my end. And blocking off communication at a cellular level, and as you were saying, to connect into the organ, but also then stretching out into our human communities and our global communities. It's all linked. And when you start that chain reaction, everything starts to improve.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. I think, there is a new way of doing things. I think lots of people are really open now. As I said, I don't know what's happening with this computer today. It's not even Mercury retrograde. So just to finish off, is there anything else that you want to share with people before we finish?
I would say always keep an open mind. I'm always interested in learning more things, and that's what will always keep you young and your mind working. And so I just ask people when they're listening about Asea, or really anything, nutrition, so many different things, just open up your mind and just be willing to learn and see what you find out. And if it resonates with you, then that's a great thing. Well, in my opinion, it's a great thing. And then give it a try. But there's other things that I suggest to people, that can help them heal and things. I'm helping a lady in Virginia right now, and she's been on Asea for a long time, but we're looking into her nutrition because she still has some issues and stuff. So I just always like to find as many things as I can to help people. But I think Asea is the foundational anything that you should put in first and then go from there, because I think this helps your body in so many ways. And then we do need extra things. It's not just Asea that will fix us. But anyway, so to keep an open mind and to, and then to be of service of people. If you find something that helps people, share that. Don't keep it to yourself. The world needs some healing in many ways at this point. And work on your mindset daily, just like Danielle was saying. Meditation is so good for you. Keeping yourself in a good place, a happy place, being in the flow. That vibration helps raise the world's vibration. So that would be what I would end with.
So true. Thank you so much, Debbie. What about you, Danielle? Anything else that you'd like people to know?
I just, you have the right to live a healthy life and a happy life, and you should, and you are worth it. And so if you are not right now, whether it's, your emotional state or your physical state or some combination of both, the answers are coming. I didn't expect the answer to come in a blue bottle from an acupuncturist, right? And I was like pushing it away when it came. But as Debbie said, stay open. Like, you don't know what you don't know. And I think sometimes our mind conceives the way in which we're supposed to get better, right? Or we try to enforce a certain thing. But the reality is, when you let go and you just say, look, I'm seeking this, please bring it to me, give me a sign, it's going to come. But you have to be open, right? What's the saying? Like, when opportunity knocks, like, you got to open the door. You have to realize the way in which things are flowing. Like, if you're listening to us talking right now, it's not by accident. Yeah. I don't know if it's meant for you or for someone you love, but like, these words are reaching you because you called this in. And so now you're ready for this conversation. And the question is now just, well, what are you going to do with it? And I'd say you are blessed to know Catherine, because I've talked to and worked with a lot of people over the years, and Catherine was so thorough with this technology. I had to go to like the president of the company to ask certain questions, because I'm like, no one's ever asked me that. I don't know. And so like, she did a deep dive, but her heart's in the right place. And the mission that she has, the vision that you have, Catherine, for like how you can help people and impact people and your own ripple effect through your work and the channels that you have, it's exciting. And you know, we need more voices. So if you're hearing this and you want to work with people like us, you can. Like, we're opening the door and saying, look, come. We want to support you and your life's journey, and we want to work with others that are looking to change the world and create a new world. And we want you as part of that. So reach out and connect. Like, this is the team, this is the community. And it's a beautiful, I always say, it's like we've got the best soil, so people's seeds of potential can grow. And it's a fabulous thing to witness and be a part of. So thank you, Catherine, for all you're doing. And I'm grateful that you had Debbie and I on.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'm so grateful for you two. And this is why I'm sharing it, I'm sharing it because I know we're all ready now to start forgetting about what's gone wrong in the past and create what we want on an individual level with our physical and emotional health, and then at a community and a global level. And we're all part of that. And you two have said it so beautifully. We're here. If this is calling to you, you reach out. All the details below, and we will be opening you with welcome up with, you know, huge arms and a big hug. So thank you so much for your time, ladies. I appreciate your time, your wisdom, and your heart so much. And thank you so much for anyone that's watching this. I do apologize for the video quality. Must be Friday afternoon. My computer. I've worked it hard this week. Have a wonderful, wonderful holiday over there in the States, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much.